Ron, good morning. How are you, sir?
I am doing great, boys. Mikey, David, how are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Elimination day. This is it. So it
Yeah.
comes down to you had an advantage there, and you couldn't get it over the goal line. But my gosh, Ron, I believe if I'm not sure of all the rules of the game, but I believe you must score to win, and that failure to score worries me.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. I haven't been on a team that's won without scoring. So you're right, Mikey. I think, yesterday I thought their pitching did very well. That's the way it is. And we knew, the second half of the ball game against these guys is going to be very difficult. They get great arms in the pen, maybe the best bullpen in baseball or one of the top two or three for sure. And very physical arms, as we were watching the games the last 2 days, you're looking at, Mason Miller throwing,
Wow.
throwing 104 miles an hour. And, they just got physical arms. So you knew that was going to be the case. That's why game one was such a big deal when you hit the home runs in the fifth and you put the 2 runs on the board and then, you can navigate your own bullpen. That's good. So, today you're going to have to get to Darvish. Absolutely.
Ron, this lineup has essentially gone too quiet in this series. If you're Craig Counsell, how do you balance the devotion to your veterans and a lineup that has served you well all season long with the fact that you're not hitting and you got some guys who are struggling mightily? What would you do with your lineup and how would you tweak the order if you would?
I lost a little bit of your question, David. So your question was to tweak the lineup, right?
Yes.
And where you do it the veterans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point in the season, the only way I would tweak the lineup today is if you felt like somebody wasn't feeling well enough to do the job. If let's say Tuck's calf is really bothering him, and he's unable to really put the swing on the ball that he's able to normally do, that would be the only way. I would not tweak the lineup today. I really wouldn't. Your top 2 guys, if you wanted to shuffle the deck a little and put someone else, in the middle and just kind of shuffle it around a little bit, okay. You still want to try to go left, right, the best you can. But the top 2 guys, they've been your hottest hitters, over the last month and a half. I would stay with them. Suzuki might be the only guy that's really been hot that you could, maybe move around. The rest of the guys, I don't know if I would move that around all that much. I would just kind of play the game. I would look at my attack and maybe do some things and give some guys some thoughts on how you would attack maybe a guy like Darvish, things like that. But switching the lineup up, I don't know if I would do that.
We talked about it earlier. Pete Crow-Armstrong might benefit from not swinging, if that sounds like a crazy thought. He just, oh my God, he's swinging at everything, and he seems to have lost any confidence that he might have one time had at the plate.
Yeah, well, here's where good scouting comes into play, right? San Diego has had 3 guys on us for the last 3 weeks, and I know them. I've known these guys for a long time. And, so they know our tendencies, and they knew what to look for. And, I see them every day. David, you saw them yesterday.
Yep.
We're all hanging out, and, we all know each other. And when you have good people watching your ball club, your tendencies are going to get exposed. If you have a hole in your game somewhere, whether it be as a team or as a player. Right now, Pete's hole in his swing is being exposed, and it's not really a hole in the swing; it's a hole in the approach, right, Mike? So the hole in the approach is don't throw him a strike; he's going to swing. Right now, if I were Pete, I would probably go up there and take a strike, and you're probably going to end up at 3-1 before you really would start your at bat.
Ron, from a hitter's perspective, and this might be wishful thinking, I'll acknowledge that. Mason Miller has been unhittable. He has got 8 outs and 8 strikeouts, and he hit 104 yesterday. This is game 3 days in a row. If they go to Mason Miller today, like you expect them to if you're the Padres and you're watching this unfold as a Cub fan, will he be tired? Is there anything to the
how many guys can he strike out today?
and will he be any less effective because it is the 3rd day in a row?
He could be. He could be a little less effective. He's thrown a lot of pitches in the last 2 days in high leverage situations. So, you could have a little bit of a.
Did we lose Ron?
I think we might have lost Ron.
Because I'm waiting with bated breath to know
know
how you wear down a guy that looks
he'll be back in
really impossible to wear down. Mason Miller looks like a strike machine. One thing about Dylan Cease that you thought going in, we talked about it yesterday, would be wild, but he wasn't. He had control and command. And I wonder, Coom, as we bring you back, Mason Miller, what you expect today.
Well, to answer your initial question, if we can get, I would say you're going to look at it. If he has any fatigue factor, you're going to see fatigue in command, not in velocity. So you're going to get more pitches either a little more erratic out of the zone, or you're going to get more pitches in the middle of the plate that are, I hate to say hittable when a guy's throwing 103, 104 miles an hour,
Wow.
but at least you got a chance. Yesterday, he was throwing pitches right where he wanted at his top velocity.
Yeah.
So he makes it very difficult. That's just part of it. I listened to a clip of one of my old buddies who's managing the Red Sox, Alex Cora, and AC was just talking about how he likes managing the playoffs. You don't have to worry about any of that. Usage, nothing. We're playing to win today. That's his philosophy, and he's been very successful at it. AC, great guy, great manager. So expect to see Miller today. He's good.
Yeah. I think Ron is right. I think it's accurate. I think that
you know why? Because put it yourself in the Cubs situation or the Padres situation.
Yeah.
If you're going to go down, you want to go down with your best guys on the mound, even if they're tired,
and with maybe the best guy. Period. Not just your best guy.
Well, the best guy in the playoffs. There's nobody that has dominated a playoff series or potentially could the way that Mason Miller could this one. And he is as big of a weapon as there is. When you zoom out and you look at the playoffs, and they have been fantastic. Yeah. Last night, the Yankees come back and beat the Red Sox. The Dodgers eliminate the Reds. You got Ohtani starting against the Phillies Saturday. But is there anybody in the postseason capable of dominating a series more than Mason Miller?
It's a really good question because I think that what we've seen thus far, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that guys like Tariq Skubal, guys like Garrett Crochet have been as dominant as anyone we've seen, but they're starting pitchers.
Good names.
And they are guys that can go one time in a 3-game set. It's not like, I don't know how you stall long enough to get a game 3 with Crochet. You'd need
Crochet
like a
affected one game. He dominated one game.
But
Skubal, same deal.
Yes,
one game.
I'm saying. And this guy has been an effective part of 2 games.
And he could have an effective.
And Ron's telling us he's going to pitch today because of the very nature of elimination game.
And if he does and they win, he will have impact on 2 victories.
Right, Ron? It's as simple as just the elimination game factor.
Yeah, I think so. I agreed. And as I was saying, I just listened to Alex Cora's comments post-game from yesterday, who's a old teammate and buddy, a very good manager, and he loved managing in the playoffs. And his reason, there's no usage, there's no issues. Here's what we're doing: we're throwing our best guy out there, hit him, and I'm not worrying about anything else other than win a ball game. So that's what you're going to see today with the usage of both bullpens today. Everybody's available.
We were wondering, would you change the lineup? Not the players, but the lineup.
You could. There's only a few things that you really would do. The top 2 guys are locked in. They're squaring the ball up constantly. If you thought the matchup in the middle of the lineup was better for one guy than the other, you could possibly do something and get Seiya up there. He's been really hot. and get him a little higher up in the lineup if you thought that was good. But at the end of the day, they had 3 hits yesterday. You just didn't do anything. And so, no matter where you're hitting in the lineup, you still got to hit. So, you weren't going to score. You didn't score yesterday. You didn't get hits. So you just up and down the lineup, guys got to do you got to try to do a better job. It's not like they're not trying. You just got to get more hits if you think you're going to win a playoff game. And today, you probably got to do it in the first half of the game.
Ian Happ, 2 for 13 lifetime against Darvish, 0 for 8 with 5 Ks in this series, Coom. When you talk about that, I think I would switch him and Suzuki. I might go say a third, Happ or fifth. Take your chances with Tucker. Maybe Tucker up to third, possibly, if you want lefty, righty, lefty. Whatever the case is, I think you've got to be in a position that you are responsive to what's going on. And what's going on is your best hitters have stopped hitting.
Yeah, you certainly could do that, David. I don't disagree with that. Ian's had some issues with the fastball up in the zone. Today, Darvish is a much different pitcher today than what we've seen the first 2 days, where, you could see, especially Pivetta with the high fastball. That's not Darvish's game. Now, Darvish throws a lot more two-seamers. He's going to run the ball down in a lot of spin. So that's going to be right in Ian's wheelhouse of a lot of sliders, a lot of cutters, a lot of curveballs, and pitching down. That factors right into the best swing of Ian Happ. So, is he going to be the same hitter? I think styles for hitters, this is probably a better matchup now, the Hugh Darvish of today than the Hugh Darvish of, 6-7 years ago.
Great stuff. Great catching up with you, Ron. We appreciate you getting up early with us.
We'll see you later, Coom.
I wish my phone got up. I don't know what happened to the phone.
That's okay.
My phone didn't get enough coffee, boys. So I apologize. I don't know what happened. But we're going to have a good day at Wrigley Field, and hopefully we'll have a little victory cigar when the thing's all over, and we'll be ready for Saturday in Milwaukee. That's the hope.
I'll be there to light it for you, Coom. I'll see you a little bit later.
I love it, David. I'll see you in a few hours.
All right.